Welcome to the February 22nd Joint Metro North Railroad and Long Island Railroad Committees meeting. Metro North Railroad has the lead for this joint meeting. We will hear public comments, and Susan Sarch, the Metro North Railroad General Counsel, will announce speakers.
I'm sorry, Chairman, we had to get the computer set up. If you give me 1 second. Thank you so much.
1 second, we're getting ready. Thank you.
Good morning, and I appreciate your forbearance. I'm going to ask for it again in advance. It's the first time that I am moderating when we have both virtual and in-live speakers. So, good morning. We have 8 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. I'd also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. And as I said, we have a combination of in-live speakers and speakers appearing virtually, so I will be alternating between them to make it fair. The first speaker will be Lisa Daglian, and who will be followed by Jason Anthony. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Lisa Dagley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA, PCAC. Phil, it's hard to believe that this will be the last joint committee meeting for you. The work you've done for the Long Island Railroad and its commuters is an impressive legacy. From the darkest days of the pandemic to the brightest on-time performance the LIRR has ever seen, all while overseeing significant projects like Third Track, the opening of the first new passenger station in half a century, and East Side Access. Your dedication and commitment to the railroad, its riders and workers, has always been clear, and we thank you. We feel good knowing that you'll be stepping in, Kathy. You know the key issues facing commuters and railroads as we emerge from the COVID crisis, and are certainly no stranger to major projects and the ravages of climate change. We look forward to continuing to work with you in your dual role on behalf of riders from Wassaic to Montauk. Unfortunately, as we saw from the shooting incident in Ronkonkoma last week, the challenges facing railroads are greater than they've ever been. The fear and horror of 1993 came flashing back to too many commuters, just at a time when people are feeling more comfortable on transit again. We're hopeful this was a one-off, but it points to the need for strengthening partnerships with local law enforcement and community organizations, including those whose goal it is to get illegal guns off the streets. Ensuring the safety of riders and workers is essential, no matter if it's 1 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon. Getting people back on board is critical to our region's recovery, and the MTA's success is a core element of that. The new fares that take effect next week will help entice commuters and occasional riders back on board, and we look forward to working with you to ensure their successful rollout. Keeping fares flat thanks to federal funds and the governor's commitment helps. We encourage you to steadily increase service to keep pace with return to office, and as Platform F enters regular service, ask you to retain the 1-seat ride to Atlantic Terminal during rush hour. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public speaker will be Jason Anthony, followed by Christopher Greif, I apologize.
Good morning, Rhonda, Catherine, and Phil. Phil, it's saddened that we'll have to see you retire. The Long Island Railroad won't be great without you. I've been riding the system for many years. The system has been through ups and downs. From the derailment at my home station at LIRR Terminal, Brooklyn, to the most recent shooting at Ronkonkoma, to the most recent on-time performance last month. Phil, you will be missed. But rest for sure, we'll be continue to work with Kathy. And Kathy, anything that you will need, we are here, like always. But things need to improve to see commuters to return to transit, like promoting discounts, improve terms of safety, how commuters feel when they are in trains, in stations, how they feel in places like Grand Central and Penn Station. We need to change how are things post-COVID. So we need to work as a team. And I'm here to work as a team. So I'll see you guys in transit.
Thank you. Our next public speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Matt Camper.
Good morning. I'm Christopher D. Greif. Hi, Phil. I'm sorry I cannot be there today, but I'll be there on Thursday. But Phil, as I'm working as Long Island Railroad ADA Task Force member, it will be we will miss you very much because we work together very well with Long Island Railroad. And Kathy, I hope we can work together with the Long Island Metro North to make ADA accessibility for seniors and people with disability, make it even stronger for people to travel where they want to go in New York region. I'm also here today to also support the Freedom Ticket. That is very important that we need to deal with the Freedom Ticket today and every time. It is very important. As you know, the Atlantic ticket does travel from Queens Village to Rosedale all the way to Brooklyn. $5 plus a transfer if you add that in, or the $60 weekly. We need to make sure that that information goes out. And I am supporting the city ticket, which is a single ticket, $5. It should work, but we hope that in the future you please work supporting the Freedom Ticket very much. And Phil, we will miss you very much, Phil, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Matt Camper, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, as some of my other fellow speakers have said already, Phil, thank you for all you did for us Long Island Railroad riders, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors, wherever it may take you. The Long Island Railroad will not be the same without you. Second, and most importantly, I want to talk about safety this morning. Safety is a top priority, especially of mine and some of my fellow advocates. And it really reminded me after what happened last week on Wednesday, the shooting at Ronkonkoma, that safety needs to be addressed. What happened on Wednesday of last week at Ronkonkoma was totally unacceptable. What happened should have never happened. And again, I will call on police patrols to be made available to stations, high priority stations such as Mineola, Hicksville. There are homelessness all over the place, panhandling going on. Riders are not safe. The number one priority in the satisfaction survey that was made last year was safety. And the reason why riders weren't coming back to the system was because of safety and panhandling in the system. We need more police patrols in Mineola, Hicksville, and Ronkonkoma, especially after what happened at Ronkonkoma back on Wednesday of last week with the shootings. I am very disturbed to hear that a taxi cab had to call 911 to report this. How is that allowed? There should have been police there in the first place, and I call on the MTA to please make more police patrols available, especially at Hicksville, Mineola, and Ronkonkoma, along with Huntington. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Charlton D'Souza, followed by Murray Bowden.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza, president of Passengers United. In terms of what happened with the shooting on the railroad, yes, we need private security guards. We need more MT police guarding the mainline stations. And with the Hollis station. Phil, I know you're leaving. Before you leave, Phil, make sure the Hollis station is in the capital program. Get it done. And I just want to say something today. I am so honored. Phil Eng, and I think all the advocates agree, you were the best president the Long Island Railroad has ever had in its history. I am so proud of you, Hector. I am so proud of, Hector, Phil Eng, the whole Long Island Railroad team. You guys did an excellent job. Every time we had a concern, you helped us. Although you still haven't helped me with the Hollis station. So maybe Kathy Rinaldi can make that work. And also, Kathy, for Metro North, if you're buying a ticket to go from Grand Central to New London, they have to work that out where you can buy the single ticket for Shoreline East. There's a lot of confusion about that. And in terms of the railroad, the trains are filthy. A lot of people are not wearing their mask. It's been a safety issue. And then in terms of the Atlantic ticket, we've been requesting, and I spoke to the chairman about this, that the Atlantic ticket weekly pass, the $60 pass, should be honored at Penn Station from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. because a lot of people are missing the train, the last train, the 142 out of Atlantic, because the subways are messed up. And then people have to pay an additional $4.50. So I'm sorry, Phil, I'm driving you crazy on the last day before you leave. But, guys, there's not going to be another Phil. You were the best. So thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Murray Bowden, followed by Andy Pollack, who will be showing up virtually.
I'm Murray Bowden. I'm being treated for dyslexia, so if I make a mistake, please correct me. Neil, wake up. Maybe you can do two things at the same time, but I appreciate at least looking at me. I'm going to read from the minutes of the last meeting. Murray Bowden from Concerned Grandparents stated that the law requires the box at Roaring Brook Station be black and white. Bowden stated that he has spent 2 years asking Metro North to convert it from a red box to a black and white, that Metro North is not following the law, and that it is responsible for this committee to replace Metro North's president with somebody who will obey the law. That's in the minutes. The box is red. Kathy, if you can't follow the law, why should we expect you to follow the law anywhere else? It is this committee's responsibility to replace Kathy Rinaldi with somebody who will follow the law. That box is black and white because colorblind people can't see red. If you, after 2 or how many years I've been telling you to fix it, you can't fix that, why should we have any confidence in anything you do for Metro North? So this committee, if you're interested in safety, get another president. Because this one does not follow the law. In this one, and it's documented, well documented. Get somebody else. Can't trust this president. You like her, Neil? Find somebody else. Sorry about that. As for the Long Island Railroad, also from last month's minutes, Murray Bowden from Concerned Grandparents stated that Phil Eng has done a fantastic job. I've followed Phil's career for probably over 20 years when he was at New York State DOT. Followed him here, and I've watched what has been done. And because of Phil's enthusiasm and ability to be flexible, Long Island has built bridges like no other railroad in the United States. He's set with the construction a new way of building bridges. What do you start the clock? This is 2 meetings. I get 2 minutes for each meeting. If you can't figure it out, we need somebody else to fix the clock. Read the minutes. I'm in here twice.
No,
I
I
have
know
two
we
different
are.
committees.
I'm sorry, we were having a conversation about restarting the clock for 2 minutes, so please do.
I get about 30 seconds less. The business of public comment has outlived its usefulness. It was here years and years ago before there was the internet, and I had the ability to read the minutes. I read all of the committee meetings that I needed to read last Saturday night and made my notes. We couldn't do that 40 years ago, so there was public comment, and we could come up here and tell you what we thought. Most of what people say up here today can be sent in an email to the specific person that needs to hear it, or you have somebody to filter it and distribute it. But this board does not have to hear the same thing repeated over and over again. Email is here. I don't do Twitter. I don't do any of the other stuff because I can't remember. It has to be in writing. I can't talk on a phone because I can't hear it. And any of you speaking, please, you're required to take your mask off while you are speaking because those of us cannot understand the words when you have the mask on. Because you can. People with disabilities, and I'm one of them, besides. So respect the law, and when you speak, remove your mask. It is the law, and you will notice that the vast people here do follow the law. Putting it on when you're down, it's another issue I won't tackle. It has been a pleasure to work with so many people at the MTA. I could not have done this without being taught what I need to know by many, many, many people going back to Louis Anemone. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Andy Pollack, followed by John, I believe it's Michno. If not, I apologize for the pronunciation.
Good morning. So I would like to congratulate Long Island Railroad President Philip Bang on his wonderful career. For many years, he has served the public in many roles, and of course, the most recent has been the president of the Long Island Railroad. Philip Bang has transformed the Long Island Railroad into the best performing commuter rail line in the entire United States. To think that 4 years ago, the longest on-time performance, 4 years later, the Long Island Railroad is in its glory days, seeing an average of almost 99% of trains on time. And that is through the leadership of Philip Bang and his team. Also, I want to mention back in 2019, Passengers United was gifted a pleasure of riding one of the first M9 trains with the ADA task force. Also, thanks to President Ang, we have concrete ties along the Babylon branch and the Port Washington branch, and that's because of his leadership. But now President Rinaldi is going to have to face a bunch of issues, including addressing public safety after what happened at Ronkonkoma last week. And of course, keeping the trains running on time. And before I wrap up my comments, I want to mention a couple of the M7s recently. There have been flat wheels reported on the Babylon branch and the Hempstead branch recently on the M7s. So hopefully maintenance can take care of that, Jamaica Rail Yard, and that's pretty much it. Once again, to President Ang, congratulations on your career, and hopefully the best in your future endeavors. Take care, and I expect to speak to you all at New York City meeting soon.
Thank you. Our final speaker is John Michno, appearing virtually.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
we
I'm
can
not
hear
getting
you.
Okay, I want to make sure you can hear me. All right. Um, all right. Although you cannot see my face and I'm virtual, I want to thank Phil Eng for all the service that he has given us, and I wish him well in his retirement. I wish he could have stayed a little longer because there are too few people in management with a nice blue collar background like him. He really did care about us, and I wish him well. And I thank him for being one of the best presidents the Long Island Railroad has ever had. But getting to the peak fares, I was very dismayed to see that they will be returning on March 1st. I feel it's too soon since the ridership has not returned to the full levels. But especially unfair to me and the others with disabilities and seniors is that once again we will be forced to pay a peak fare on morning westbound trains. No other system does this. Reduced fares should be honored at all times. This is purely discrimination, and it should be illegal. And I see many more weekends with the main line shut down, yet our Mineola station is still a mess. The elevator's not working is an unacceptably frequent occurrence. Homeless are present as well, and I rarely see any patrols, and I don't feel safe at the station. Then there's the Willis Avenue underpass, which has no sidewalk and thus no way for pedestrians to safely cross over. They haven't built the overpass yet there either, or the one at Main Street. This project is supposed to improve our community, but if anything, it has only made it worse. It is getting harder to get around. The new sound walls on the tracks are already full of graffiti, and it is a depressing sight out of the window of the train. All of this is making my life more difficult mentally and physically, and it's having very real negative effects on my health. I do not feel we're being treated fairly at all. Please consider the very real toll your actions take on us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes the public comment session.
Thank you, Susan. I will now request a motion and approval for of the minutes from the Metro North, which is on page 5, and LIRR on page 23. Page 13, sorry. So moved. Approval? Say aye. Second, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Minutes are approved. 2022 work plans, Metro North work plan. Are there any changes?
There's one change. The Metro North Diversity and EEO report for the fourth quarter of 2021 will be provided by the Division of Diversity and Civil Rights at the Diversity Committee meeting in March.
Long Island Railroad?
No changes other than what Kathy had mentioned for the diversity report as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll have the agency reports. Metro North. President Rinaldi will deliver.
Thank you, Chair Herman. My report this month focuses on two priority areas: service delivery and ridership trends and initiatives underway as we continue to welcome back our riders. We have some 2021 performance highlights. Overall, our 2021 service delivery was 97.1%, which is the second consecutive year Metro North finished with on-time performance above 97%. While West of Hudson service last year performed at 93.4%. The railroad's fleet attained a mean distance between failure, MDBF, of over 190,500 miles in 2021. Maintaining safe and reliable service and welcoming back more riders is emblematic of our commitment to our customers and is consistent with the priorities of our Way Ahead strategic plan. All of our 2021 accomplishments were made possible by the diligent work of our workforce. Moving forward into 2022, we're already off to a very strong start, with January's East of Hudson train service operating at a high OTP of 98.1%. The majority of delays in the month of January occurred as the result of winter weather. Here's a recap of our proactive measures that were taken before, during, and after the storm that occurred during the last week of January. During that last week of January, we prepared for a nor'easter that was potentially headed towards our territory. As the week leading up to the storm went on, the storm track remained somewhat uncertain, but there seemed to be an increasing likelihood that the area in and around New Haven would see approximately 2 feet of snow. As the weekend approached, it also looked as if the storm was drifting to the west, which would potentially affect the Hudson and Harlem lines. As we always do, Metro North prepared for the worst and hoped for the best. We made the decision to implement hourly service on our 3 main East of Hudson lines and to suspend all branch line service for Saturday, January 29th. Maintenance of way mobilized to ensure that we had adequate resources and equipment at key locations, including critical switches. MAV got the fleet ready. And once the storm hit, the transportation department kept our customers moving safely and kept an eye out for deteriorating conditions in case we needed to curtail our service further. Our station staff made sure that the stations were safe for travel and that the customers received the guidance that they needed. In fact, press coverage during the storm observed how grateful our customers were that we were able to keep trains running all day on Saturday. Many of the customers riding with us that day were essential workers who needed to get to jobs around the region, and when they were interviewed, they said that they felt that the railroad was the safest way to travel during the storm. Thanks to the efforts of the entire Metro North team, our operating plan worked, with a truly remarkable on-time performance of 98% that day. And on Sunday, thanks to the efforts of the entire railroad team, we were able to run our normal schedule, which got the customers who ventured out after the storm where they needed to go. Although we haven't yet seen the end of our winter weather this year, I want to celebrate and thank the men and women of Metro North and how they all came together to keep our customers safe during that nor'easter. Many thanks for all that you do to keep our customers and fellow employees safe. Now I just want to talk a little bit about ridership. We have numbers for Monday through Thursday of last week. This past week, Monday through Thursday, we were at 44.1% of our pre-COVID ridership. Ridership was up 0.5% over the previous week, up 6% over the ridership of 2 weeks ago, up 22% from a month ago, and up 42% from the Omicron low, which was the first week of January. So this is all very good to see. And we're only down 10% from our pre-Omicron high in mid-December. So all the trends are very, very good. By line, the Hudson line is at approximately 45% of pre-COVID ridership. The Harlem line is at 50% of pre-COVID ridership. And the New Haven line is at approximately 43% of pre-COVID ridership. The other good thing to see, in addition to our regular commuters and our discretionary travel, which has been strong throughout the pandemic, we're starting to see requests for spring group travel. Bike groups have traveled with us already, and more bike groups are booking trips as the spring approaches. So this is all very good to see. With peak hour travel patterns reemerging, we're reminding our customers of the existing bike policy, but we are following ridership trends closely to see if that could be modified. Also good news, the popular Breakneck Ridge station will be reopening in the spring as soon as safety improvements are completed. This popular station handles hundreds of customers each weekend looking to enjoy outdoor activities and views in the Hudson Valley. A little bit of late-breaking news. The river ice in the area between Ossining and Haverstraw has sufficiently subsided to allow for resume of the Haverstraw-Ossining ferry tomorrow, Wednesday, the 23rd. Okay. As part of our returning ridership and welcoming our customers back to the system, Long Island Railroad and Metro North both will continue to offer plenty of discounts and deals for riders. Off-peak fares remain in effect through the end of the month, as we've discussed already, so customers using single ride trips and 10-trip tickets can still benefit from savings up to nearly 40% of the normal price. Peak fares will return to both railroads beginning March 1st, but simultaneously we will be launching new ways to save and promoting this pilot fare program through ads developed in-house by Sarah Meyer and her team. For regular riders, they can try a monthly unlimited ticket and they will receive an extra 10% off their ticket cost. Depending upon where they're traveling from, riders can save up to 61% off one-way peak travel. We also have a new option for semi-monthly riders. Our new 20-trip ticket saves riders 20% on regular peak fare prices. This new 20-trip ticket can be found on MTA e-tix starting February 25th or a ticket window starting March 1st. And for those traveling only within New York City limits, we've also got you covered. Starting February 25th, City Ticket will offer 5-day weekday off-peak fares when you're traveling with us the same day the riders purchase their ticket. The other good news of the month is with respect to a schedule change that we'll be implementing at the end of March. As more riders return to traditional peak periods, I'm very pleased to announce that we're improving the attractiveness of our weekday service by restoring 66 weekday trains on our 3 east of Hudson lines. This restoration will increase weekday service to approximately 89% of pre-pandemic levels. It will take effect on Sunday, March 27th. We've been listening to our customers and the message is clear. They want more trains, more seating capacity, as well as faster trips, which is exactly what this latest service increase will provide. Guided by our Way Ahead Moving Forward plan, these improvements will shorten peak period travel times. As ridership continues to recover from the Omicron-caused dip, we will restore many of our pre-pandemic zoned express trains. These service adjustments will provide additional seating capacity for customers and will reduce some trip times at several stations by up to 13 minutes. This new schedule will build upon the major service increase that started in August of 2021, when we built up service back to 82% of our pre-pandemic levels. By line, Hudson Line weekday service will increase from 142 trains to 156 trains, with additional trains being added between GCT, Croton, Harmon, and Poughkeepsie. Harlem Line weekday service will increase from 190 trains to 208 trains, with additional trains between GCT, White Plains, and Southeast. And New Haven Line weekday service will increase from 244 trains to 278 trains, with additional trains between GCT, Stamford, and New Haven. Weekend service, which is already at nearly 100% of our pre-COVID service levels, is unchanged except for some minor scheduling adjustments to support infrastructure work. Speaking of infrastructure work, I just want to give an update on the Dobbs Ferry Culvert. We've been reporting on this pretty much every month for the past several months. We continue to make good progress. We and our C&D partners continue to make good progress replacing the culvert at Dobbs Ferry, which washed out from the remnants of Hurricane Ida. The culvert job is now more than 90% complete, and we expect to complete the final track work in advance of the upcoming schedule change. Also, some good news west of Hudson. I want to highlight the information item that's on today's agenda regarding the proposed lease agreement that MTA Real Estate has successfully negotiated for the Pearl River Station building. In addition to the rental revenue, the tenant will be making a significant investment to improve the space, including new restrooms and new interior and exterior lighting for the building, which will provide added customer amenities to the station environment as we welcome back more riders. Also for our Rockland customers, I'm pleased to report that the new platform waiting room shelter at Nanuet is substantially complete and now available to customers, while we finish some work out there, including removing the temporary shelter. I look forward to visiting the station soon and seeing this enhancement firsthand. Speaking of enhancements, we had an announcement last month of the Uni Bike Pod at Grand Central. It was a great event, and I want to thank our board member Norman Brown, who first brought Uni to my attention probably about a year and a half ago now. It's a great amenity for our customers, and we look forward to seeing how it goes and potentially launching it elsewhere across both Long Island and Metro North. One last amenity, Train Time app, which we launched a couple months ago, is now available on Android watches. Android users can now keep their watches in their pocket and have all the train information that they need on their wrists. Finally, a couple of personnel announcements. Joseph Strini is our Director of Field Safety Operations and Investigations. I want to take a moment to honor Joe on his retirement after, you will not believe this number, 52 years of dedicated service. Joe, as I said, is the Director of Field Safety Operations and Investigations with the Office of System Safety. He spent most of his career dedicated to safety. He began his railroad career in 1969 with the Penn Central and then Conrail as a mechanical department electrician in shops and yards. In 1978, he was promoted into the transportation department and became a locomotive engineer for Conrail. In 1983, he accepted a special duty position with Metro North Safety Department and stayed in that role until January of 1985, when he was promoted to Deputy Director of Safety. In 2016, his role expanded once again with his promotion to the new role of Director Field Safety Operations and Investigations. Joe led the establishment of the safety critical function at Metro North, and his leadership helped build it into the robust partnership with the operations departments that it is today. Joe is known across the railroad for his dogged persistence and attention to detail in investigating incidents and rooting out opportunities for improvements, all in the service of safety for our employees and customers. Notably, as just one part of his work, Joe has been working with the Metro North operating departments and local and state agencies in a coordinated effort to improve safety at grade crossings across Metro North operating territory. Under Joe's leadership, we are already mobilizing to restripe and paint the crossing at Roaring Brook Road once the weather breaks, hopefully at the end of March. Joe believes behind a legacy that we're all very, very proud of after 52 years. So please join me in congratulating Joe Strini and wishing him well on his retirement. Speaking of retirements, though Phil is going to be making his remarks at the end. This is my remarks, so this is where I'm going to make my remarks. This is completely unscripted. I just want to thank Phil for his friendship, for his leadership of the Long Island. We compete with each other, we learn from each other, but we're colleagues and friends. I will miss, all of the guidance he has given me as I've sort of settled into my career. We both started roughly the same time. I think I started in February as the president of Long Island. You started in March. And we've, really become friends and colleagues throughout that time. I wish Phil nothing but the best. He earns everything he's going to get in his retirement. He leaves a really proud and wonderful legacy at the Long Island. I am privileged to step into his very big shoes and lead a wonderful organization. So I wish you nothing but the best, Phil, and thank you for your friendship. And I have some swag for you. So this is your swag. So you don't have to open it now. It is a piece of Tennessee marble from the floor of Grand Central. It seemed particularly appropriate as, the railroads are going to be unified in the Grand Central environment for you to have a piece of Grand Central to take with you in your retirement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome. Yeah, no.
The Metro North Safety Report will be given by Shelley Prettyman, the Acting Vice President of System Safety.
Good morning. Metro North Safety Report can be found starting on page 30 of the committee book. The FRA reportable customer injury rate for Metro North stands at 1.79 for the 12-month reporting period ending December 2021, which is up from 1.39 in the prior reporting period. The increase is primarily because of an uptick in the number of slips, trips, and falls. So I mentioned last month that we worked with MTA Customer Communications to launch a winter customer safety campaign. There's an example of that in the committee book this month, and we're currently working with them on a spring campaign to refresh and update our messages to customers. Again, all those messages run on electronic signs throughout the Metro North system and on social media. The FRA reportable lost time employee injury rate stands at 1.97 for the 12-month reporting period. That's down from 2.17 in the prior reporting period. There have been no grade crossing incidents, no mainline FRA reportable derailments, and no mainline FRA reportable train collisions for the reporting period or for the year through December 21. Employee safety training hours were 221,343 for the year, and community outreach contacts, and that includes virtual and in-person contacts, were 233,940 for the year. So that concludes Metro North Safety Report, unless there are any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, for the last time, I'll be able to ask for the Long Island Railroad Report from President Ng, and I would like to add my thanks and ditto to all the comments. And Phil, I've enjoyed getting to know you these past few years, and good luck to you in all your endeavors.
Thank you, Rhonda. Good morning, everyone. And I will save my comments for the end with regards to my farewell. But Mother Nature tested our resiliency in January. Snowstorms, frigid temperatures, and blizzard conditions. On January 7th, a snowstorm dropped as much as 8 inches of snow on Long Island. And while we hoped that would be the worst, Winter Storm Keenan, with its blizzard conditions spanning January 28th to the 30th, left parts of New York City with up to a foot of snow and Long Island with up to 2 feet of snow. And I couldn't be prouder of how our managers and our workforce battled the elements of this relentless storm, restoring service as quickly as we did. A true testament to their decision-making and commitment to safety, both for the workforce and for our customers. And coming off of our record-breaking 2021 year, we close out January's on-time performance with 95.2%, despite the effects of these storms on our system. Nothing more important to maintain public confidence and to bring riders back than safe, consistent, and reliable service for our customers. And as Kathy stated, our fare promotions are starting, and we're looking forward to hearing from riders regarding these new options and welcoming back more customers to the system as they figure out how best to return to their workplaces. Regarding ridership patterns, we generally see lower ridership in December and January, particularly decreased commuter travel, supplemented with discretionary travel for holidays, shopping, dinners, and shows. Unfortunately, Omicron affected all of these areas, including ridership. The good thing is that as we're seeing the number of positives drop dramatically, we're hoping that continues to be the case, and we're seeing ridership start to return. In January, we were in the low 40% compared to pre-pandemic ridership, and although ridership figures fluctuate daily due to flexibility that people have in the workplace, Heaviest riders typically come in on Tuesdays through Thursdays. Those are our heaviest days. For February, we're seeing ridership levels between 46 to 49% of pre-pandemic as we look to be back above 50% shortly. Again, with the heaviest ridership also returning during our peak traditional hours. And of course, as weather improves, we're seeing an increase in off-peak discretionary travel, hitting the mid-70s on Saturdays and mid-60s on Sundays. We're optimistic with discounted monthlies and new fare options being offered as businesses in local downtowns continue to welcome people back. We will see ridership return with the continued growth in March through the rest of 2022. And we're ready to serve them. 17 straight months exceeding our goal of 94% on-time performance, and 23 of the last 25 months exceeding that goal. Safe, consistent, reliable service that will bring people back. Starting March 21st, a new timetable will begin as we start new rounds of work across the system. Customers should stay tuned closer to the March date for the new schedules, as they'll be available on the Long Island Train Time app and our website. A few notable weekends of work coming up. On March 12th through the 13th, we'll have track outages for mainline expansion. And again, on March 19th through 20th and March 26th through 27th, we'll have mainline shutdowns between New Hyde Park and Hicksville for more switch installations. We're committed to delivering safe, reliable service. That's the best thing we can continue to do to lure riders back to the system. As always, it's because of the tireless efforts of the workforce and the support of our labor partners that we're able to get this job done. We appreciate the riders who've been riding along with us all along, and the ones who have recently returned, and those who will be joining us soon. We'll be ready for you and ready to welcome you all back. Thank you very much. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. The Long Island Safety Report will be delivered by Lori Ebbinghausen, Vice President of Corporate Safety.
Good morning. So our safety reporting performance through December can be found on page 33 of your book, and I'm happy to answer any questions. However, I want to highlight, and I'm very pleased to announce the winners of this year's annual school safety contest. We did a little something different this year, and a tip of the hat to my colleagues at Metro North and the success with Metro Man. We asked our partners in education to identify a safety superhero. So Safety Sam, so named by our elementary school winner, Isaiah Bacan, who's in Mrs. Stocco's third grade class at Sacred Heart Catholic Academy in Queens. So Safety Sam. And costumed by our winner from the middle school, Gennaro Perez, Oregon Middle School, Patchogue Med School District. Mrs. Polis, a seventh grade teacher, has been a fantastic supporter throughout the years with our safety contests and awareness campaigns. So I want to congratulate those two young people for giving us a companion to Metro North's Metro Man. So Safety Sam will hopefully be joining you. And costuming will be supported by a grant that we received through Operation Lifesaver. So we will actually take Gennaro's vision and translate it into reality. So looking forward to that and reinvigorating our campaigns. TRACS program's been around since the 1980s, so it's always nice to be able to refresh the message and stay in touch with what's happening in the communities on Long Island to make sure that we're partnering together for safety. So happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I just skipped over. MTA Police Report will be delivered by the police.
Good morning.
The Deputy Chief.
I'm joining you remotely. Sorry. Good morning. For those that don't know me, I'm Deputy Chief Jennifer Kelly, currently assigned to the Administration Unit. The police report begins on page 36 of the committee handbook. Beginning with Metro North, for the month of January, there were 2 felony assaults, one of which was closed out by arrest of 2 individuals in Yonkers. The second one was closed out due to an uncooperative victim. We had 1 for the same time period of last year. For Long Island Railroad, there were 2 for the month of January. 1 is still open under investigation, and the second one has also been closed out by arrest. In both situations, both for Metro North and Long Island Railroad, there was no relationship between the suspect and the victim of each case. In January of 2021, there was 1 felony assault for Long Island Railroad. The locations where these incidents occurred for Metro North included Mamaroneck and Yonkers. Both were on the platforms at the station. And for Long Island Railroad, it was Jamaica, which was also a platform incident, as well as at Penn Station. The Penn Station felony assault, the charge was upgraded to the felony assault because a police officer was injured, although not severely, thank goodness, at the scene. There were no patterns to report on any of these, and fortunately, no employees were victims either this month. In regards to grand larcenies, for Metro North, there were 3 for the month of January compared to 1 of last year for the same time period. The locations included Grand Central for an unattended conductor's bag. Also, there was in Hastings, we had a cable larceny along the right-of-way, and we have one other that's still open for investigation of a catalytic converter theft in the southeast parking lot. Again, no patterns and only 1 employee victim at this time, and none of these incidents occurred on any of the trains. On a highlight for Metro North, for the same time period in Connecticut, there were no incidents reported in either 2022 or 2021. For Long Island Railroad, we had 4 grand larcenies in the month of January compared to 1 in 2021. Again, there was a slight uptick, and all of them were due to unattended property and or sleeping commuters on the train. The first one was a conductor's wallet was taken from a closed car cab or conductor's cab rather along the Ronkonkoma line. The second one was an unattended suitcase that was taken from the vestibule of the train. And the third one, a laptop was taken from a commuter while they were sleeping on the train. In Penn Station, we also had a conductor's bag that was taken from a cab. We are reviewing the video footage for the different incident trains in regards to seeing if there's any patterns as far as suspects are concerned with the ones concerning the conductors. But otherwise, there's no patterns on those cases. Moving on to robberies, Metro North had none for 2022 or 2021 for the same time period. Long Island Railroad, we had 2 in 2022 and 1 in 2021. There was an incident in Bayshore on the platform. The proceeds were taken was currency, which is currently open and under investigation. The second one was at Jamaica Station, where 2 suspects were arrested for removing a cell phone from a victim forcibly. For burglaries for the month of January, we are happy to report that there were none in either Metro North or Long Island Railroad territories, which was also consistent with the same reporting period for 2021. As far as arrests for the year, we are up from 73 compared to 58 with last year's time frame. There has been an increase in arrests for criminal trespass and petit larceny, some of which results from Grand Central with Rite Aid with making arrests there. Of the felony assault arrests, there were 5, 3 of which were in 2022, and the remaining 2 were closing out cases from 2021. Summons activity is down slightly for 2022 compared to 2021, where we've noticed the decrease has been in vehicle and traffic enforcement summonses. However, on a positive note, we've seen a dramatic increase in summons activity for Jamaica, Penn Station, and Grand Central, highlighting enforcement activities for quality of life enforcement, as well as in continued efforts with trying to keep the stations presentable and moving people along accordingly. In regards to Mayor Adams' safety subway plan, we are continuing our transit ops initiatives with supporting the BRC at end-of-line stations and increasing our New York City transit code of enforcement violations. This currently concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions. Gerard, I see you have a question. You're muted.
Yes, ma'am. When you assign officers to ride the trains, what instructions do you give them?
The officers are expected to walk the train constants, make contact with the train crews to see if there's any problems that they should be aware of when they board the trains. They engage with the commuters, although a lot of times on the morning trains, commuters just want to read their papers and be left in peace. But they're supposed to make themselves, physically available and provide a presence on the train should there be any issues.
Okay. The reason I bring this up, I was on a train Thursday night, and you had 2 officers that rode the train out from Jamaica. I got off from Patchogue and they were still on, so I don't know whether they went to Spionk or all the way out to Montauk. And this was the late afternoon, early evening of when we had the incident in Ronkonkoma. So people would like to see a police presence on the trains. The officers got on the one car, I believe it was the front of the second, if I'm not mistaken, and basically just stood there the entire ride out. So if the idea was to show a police presence, maybe 10 or 12 people saw them. Where if they had walked the train, everybody would have seen them, might have given them a little comfort level. And then the thing that disturbed me the most was, I've been a proponent of, if you see people without masks and they're not going to put one on, write them a ticket or whatever. All right, these officers didn't write any tickets, but they were engaged in conversation with a couple of commuters that were not wearing masks and didn't even go so far as to say, hey, buddy, you really should have a mask. You need one, I'll get you one. So that was just a little disappointing because to me, it felt like a total waste of manpower because all they did was get on the train, take a ride out to Spionk or wherever and come back. So I'm glad that you mentioned that they should have been walking the train because that would have been my suggestion to have them walk the train. And again, we've been pushing, I'm also on the commuter council. We've been pushing for more mask enforcement. The conductors really don't want to get involved with that. They feel it's more of a police matter. So when we do have police on the train, it would be nice if they would, go so far as to enforce the rules.
We'll bring that to the attention of the supervisors that patrol on the Long Island Railroad to make sure that they're emphasizing what our mission is with the train patrol, because clearly you're absolutely right. They should be walking the trains and taking more of a proactive approach. We'll deal with that on our end. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you. We now have President Rinaldi to deliver 2 items presented in the agenda book in accordance with the committee's work plan and 1 additional information item for this month.
Thank you. As the chairman said, there are 2 items presented in the agenda book in accordance with our work plan and then 1 additional item. The information presented in the agenda book is the adopted budget and financial plan 2022. It provides our final estimate for 2021, the 2022 adopted budget, and the financial plan for 2022 to 2025, and we're available to address any questions that the committee might have. The second information item that's set forth in the work plan are the 2021 annual operating results. As I mentioned earlier, I had provided some highlights on our strong performance last year. There's further detailed information in the book, and we're here to answer any questions that the committee might have about our 2021 operating results. Okay. The third item, also I mentioned up front, there's an item that's going to be going as part of the real estate package to Finance Committee that respects the lease for the Pearl River Station building. It'll go to Finance Committee and then to the full board this week.
Thank you. Now President Ng will report on 3 items.
Thank you very much. Also in the book for Long Island Railroad is the February financial plan for 2022 through 2025, the 2021 final estimate and 2022 adopted budget. In the book also are the annual operating results for 2021, and we're here to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you. Anthony Gardner will now present the non-competitive procurement. I'm sorry. Yes.
Just a question, not for now, but if someone can get back to me. On page 82, information items for Long Island Railroad, there's the 4th bullet under technical adjustments include. It says adjust position levels between functional occupation groups and departments with no change to overall number of total positions. Can anybody get back to me in the coming week or so about what that translates to and some examples of it? That's all. Not for now.
We will have the Finance Tower put together some information, give you a summary of that, Vinny.
Thank you. Anthony Gardner, procurement for Metro North.
Good morning. In this month's package, Metro North, on behalf of itself, Long Island Railroad, and New York City Transit, request approval to award a 5-year, non-competitive, original equipment manufacturer purchase agreement in the estimated amount of $296 million, $63,000 to the firm Wabtec Corporation. Under the purchase agreement, Wabtec will provide various parts, components, and repair services as needed for Metro North and Long Island Railroad rail cars, coach cars and locomotives, and all New York City Transit subway cars. As a result of strong procurement category management, which included significant agency collaboration, review and forecasting of approximately 3,000 parts, the agencies leveraged their collective spend, resulting in favorable pricing and efficiencies that will reduce procurement lead times, the number and frequency of individual purchases, and assures the agencies that the OEM, Wabtec, will continue to maintain tooling and manufacturing capabilities necessary to produce parts which are not available from any other sources. May I please have a vote on this procurement?
To approve. Second.
Madam Chair, if I may, just for a second, we're not 100% sure we have a quorum. We've been trying to do a count, and it's a little unclear with it's virtual. So I think we can certainly make a recommendation, but until we clarify that.
Okay, it's recommendation to move and approve. Neil?
Is Lorraine a member of this committee? Is Lorraine a member of this committee? Cortez Vasquez, is she a member of this committee?
No,
I
I'm
don't think
not.
so. Right. I didn't think so. Okay, so yeah, we only have 2 voting members here. Is Jamie a member of this committee? No. All right. Well, there you go. Then I guess you're stuck. But Harry. Oh, Harry is. Yeah. So Harry, that's 3 of us. How many we need?
And I apologize for not knowing that off the top of my head. That's why I wasn't sure.
4. That must be a quorum of this committee. I guess so. Anyway, still going to be unanimous.
Yes. So we're recommending that this motion be moved. Yeah, they did, they first and second, yeah. Yep, didn't we, vote. Aye, all in favor, yes.
Aye.
There you go. Very confusing. Okay. President Rinaldi and Ing will report on the operation performance metrics and financial.
Yeah, the monthly reports on operations, performance metrics, financial, and ridership are included in the committee agenda for both railroads, and we're both here to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Well, I'll be quick because if I speak too much, the emotions running through me will get the best of me. The sentiments from the public speakers, thank you so much. I truly enjoyed working with each and every one of you and your members. Together, we collaboratively have found ways to move in the right direction to better provide service for everybody that needs it. To Kathy, I'm very sorry to give you double duty. But I know if there's anyone who could handle it, you can handle it. The friendship, the partnership, and the back and forth with regards to the challenges that we have and how we both overcome them is truly something that I will always remember and learned a lot from you as well. Thank you very much, Kathy. I wish you all the best in this new double duty that you have. To all the Railroad Committee members, fantastic effort, fantastic partnership. Again, we do so much together, and that's how we are able to get through the pandemic and how we've been able to continually improve service for all that rely on us. To my management team, to the workforce, it's very hard to say goodbye. It's very hard because of what we've done together, but because of you guys making it so hard is why I'm confident the team is going to continue to thrive. It's not what I've done, it's what you've done. And all I've done is supported you in terms of being able to bring out all those ideas that go around in your heads. Some of them may seem crazy, but at the end of the day, we find a solution. And that's what makes public service so great, because people rely on what we do. And it really does drive the economy, it drives quality of life, and it makes living in the New York metropolitan area and Long Island the great place it is, a place that I want to always live and a place that I want my family to grow up in and continue to live. And I just want to say thank you very much to our labor partners. What we do together to make sure the workforce has the right direction, the right tools, and the right support is invaluable because they keep things moving and they're out there day in and day out through all the elements, no matter how good or how bad the weather is or the circumstances are. It is a tough, mentally and physically challenging job, but it's been a pleasure and an honor and a privilege to have worked with all of them. And I'm going to miss everyone, but I'll be around, and thank you very much for all the kind words.
Yes, Vince.
Phil, I'd like to add my appreciation for your leadership, and I want to wish you well, and we'll miss you. And again, on behalf of our county executives in Nassau and Suffolk, we want to wish you well.
Yeah, real brief, Phil. You listen, obviously, members of the public, rider advocates, I mean, to get the compliments that you did earlier, it just demonstrates how great of a job that you've done. The respect that you've shown all the unions and all the members of labor, we've appreciated it. It hasn't been the prettiest of roads dealing with COVID and the countless things that we've had to deal with in your stay, yet you stayed the course and you did a lot of things to harden up our infrastructure, and we appreciate it. The workforce appreciates what you did. We welcome you, Kathy, stepping in. We know that the Long Island Railroad is not new to you, so we do hope that the transition will be smooth, and we know it will, but it's about you today, Phil. Appreciate you, and wish you all the best, you, your family, and whatever you decide to do down the road.
Well, just thank you again. Thank you again to everybody. If people got as much from me as I got from them, then it's a success. Thank you again. Thank you to all my colleagues. Thank you to the public, and thank you to the workforce.
Yeah, I also wanted to, we spoke offline, but I wish you the best in everything you do in the future, Phil. It was great working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can motion to adjourn? Second. Bye.